Mark Carney once again did not show up to question period. He just had a lovely vacation in Mexico, and now he's spending his time in New York City.
The Liberals are setting criminals free. They're wasting money. They are targeting sports shooters and recreational shooters who abide by the law. The Liberals have increased firearm-related crime by 30%. That we already knew. Yet the Minister of Public Safety accidentally revealed the truth and was recorded doing so. He said that confiscating the firearms of law-abiding firearm owners was a waste of money. Does the Prime Minister agree with his minister?
Merci pour la question.
Thank you for the question.
Mr. Speaker, on Sunday I had a conversation with an individual that I've known for many years who recorded it without my knowledge and had it leaked to a gun lobbyist. In that conversation, Mr. Speaker, the subject of the assault-style firearms buyback compensation program was discussed. In trying to address this issue, Mr. Speaker, the individual's frustration, my comments were misguided. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, it's important to have the program in place. This is what Canadians are looking for. And I do want to note that the Leader of the Opposition has voted against every single gun measure.
By freeing rampant gun criminals and wasting billions of dollars of police and border resources targeting law-abiding, licensed, trained and tested firearms owners, this government has overseen a 130% increase in violent gun crime. But over the weekend, the Minister of Public Safety accidentally told the truth, and he was recorded doing it. He said that the gun grab is not worth the money, that it will go over budget, and it would be better just to lock up the criminals, but that they're going ahead with the bad policy because it's good politics. Does the Prime Minister agree?
Mr. Speaker, it's a good thing there's a recording of it so that Canadians can have a look for themselves. Let me be very clear, Mr. Speaker. Canadians want responsible gun control. They wanted it in 1989 after a man killed 14 women at École Polytechnique. They wanted it after 6 people were murdered at the Quebec City mosque shooting. And they wanted it after the biggest mass shooting in our history, where a man opened fire and killed 22 people in Nova Scotia. Mr. Speaker, why are the Conservatives against keeping guns off our streets?
Mr. Speaker, the minister said that his gun grab won't work, that it will go over budget, and that it would be better to lock up criminals, as Conservatives have been suggesting, but that they're going ahead with the gun grab anyway because the Prime Minister wants to pursue electoral politics. Electoral politics, Mr. Speaker. When a mother is hit with a stray bullet, or a police officer is murdered by a firearm, or a bullet flies into a child's bedroom as part of an extortion case, we don't have time for politics. So why is this minister caught on tape playing politics with guns?
Mr. Speaker, in order to have a real conversation about crime, we need to have a real conversation about guns. Canadians want responsible gun control, Mr. Speaker. They wanted it in 1989 after a man killed 14 women at École Polytechnique. They wanted it after 6 people were murdered at the Quebec City mosque shooting, and they wanted it after the biggest mass shooting in our history, where a man opened fire and killed 22 people in Nova Scotia. Mr. Speaker, why are the Conservatives against keeping guns off our streets, and why has this Leader of the Opposition voted against every single gun control measure that he has been in Parliament for?
That minister did have a real conversation about guns. Unfortunately for him, he was caught on tape. Caught on tape admitting that the gun grab is a waste of money. Caught on tape admitting it would go over budget. Caught on tape admitting it would be better just to lock up the gun criminals who are actually doing the crime. Why is it that Liberals only tell the truth when they don't think anyone is listening?
Mr. Speaker, let me reiterate, it's actually a good thing that this conversation was caught on tape. And in fact, it will counter every single claim that this Leader of the Opposition is making. Let me be very clear, Mr. Speaker. Canadians want responsible gun control. We are in a position as a government, we committed to it during the last campaign, Mr. Speaker. Canadians gave us a mandate on April the 28th to ensure that we move forward on this program, and we look forward to its implementation.
While this government blocks criminal justice reforms that would lock up gun criminals, They want to go ahead and take nearly $1 billion away from border security and police officers to go after licensed, law-abiding, trained and tested hunters and sport shooters, a project that the OPP refuses to enforce. Numerous provincial governments have said they will not go ahead with. They've even had to ask Canada Post to go and collect these firearms. The minister himself has now admitted that it won't work. Why won't they drop the politics and save lives?
Mr. Speaker, if the member is concerned about advancing legislation that's actually going to keep Canadians safe, he would work across the aisle with us as we seek to table legislation during this legislative sitting to ensure that violent repeat offenders are kept behind bars, to make sure the most serious offenders are actually facing stiffer penalties. But, Mr. Speaker, it is hard to accept criticism when it comes to keeping our community safe from gun violence from a member who, for more than 2 decades, has voted against the very specific measures that are designed to take guns off our streets, and he has voted repeatedly on the measures that will weaken our border to prevent the inflow of guns in the first place.
I and we have voted against policies that have given Canada a 130% increase in gun violence. And speaking of getting things through Parliament, he says seek to introduce. This government has been in place for 10 years. They have softened penalties for repeat offenders. That minister took the summer off and still has not introduced any criminal justice reforms to stop guns. We put forward a 3 strikes you're out law that would lock up the repeat violent offenders. Instead, they're spending $700 million of police resources going after licensed law-abiding people. Why?
Mr. Speaker, I have news for my friend on the other side of the House of Commons. If he believes that I haven't moved forward with legislative efforts this sitting when it comes to criminal justice reform, I would have invited him to have shown up for work on Friday last week where we did that very thing. Mr. Speaker, he should look forward this fall sitting to seeing 2 additional pieces of criminal legislative reform. One on bail and sentencing that will make sure violent repeat offenders are not walking amongst our streets, and a second that will protect those who are at risk of intimate partner violence or at risk of being victimized by sexual offenses. And when it comes to the summer, I was meeting with law enforcement and provincial counterparts. He was fighting for his job.
Gary Anandasangari needs to be fired, and that's the bottom line. He cannot hold his own, and it is quite obvious when Sean Fraser had to step in at the end there and answer the rest of the questions for him. Anyway, I would like to know what you think down in the comments section below. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you are new, and thank you very much for watching.